In the world of high-performance coaching, the focus is always on what's next. But what if the single greatest tool for getting better isn't about looking forward, but actually looking back? Today, we're going to dive into that very idea, pulling from Dr. Nicholas Serenati's work, The Mirror of Mastery. I mean, think about it. In coaching and leadership, pretty much any high-stakes field, the pressure is relentless. It's always about the next game, the next quarterly goal, the next big project. We're just hardwired to constantly look ahead. But here's the thing. In that constant, frantic push for what's next, we almost always miss the most important moment for real learning. So what if the most powerful question you could ask has nothing to do with the future at all? That's it. So simple, right? What just happened? Dr. Serenati argues that this one simple question is the key that unlocks genuine growth. It forces us to just stop, to look back, and to actually learn from what we've literally just done. And this brings us to what the source calls the what's next trap. It's this myth that always looking forward is a strength, when in reality it can be the very thing holding us back from learning. It's time to bust that myth and redefine what reflection really is. And this is where so many of us get the definition of reflection completely wrong. We tend to think of it as passive, maybe even a waste of time. But the argument here is that it's the total opposite. It is an active process. It's where the real, gritty work of getting better actually starts. So after every game, every practice, every big meeting, you are faced with a fundamental choice. And this isn't an exaggeration. It's a choice that truly dictates whether you stagnate or you evolve. And here is that choice, laid out, plain and simple. If you fail to reflect, you're just stuck on a hamster wheel. You're doomed to repeat the same patterns, the same mistakes over and over again. But if you pause to reflect, you get the chance to refine your approach. So the choice is simple: repeat or refined. That's the whole game. This gets to a really hard truth. Experience by itself doesn't make you better. We all know someone with 20 years of experience who has really just repeated their first year 20 times over. It's the deliberate, intentional act of reflection that transforms that raw experience into actual meaningful growth. So that brings us to this central idea the source calls the mirror effect. Because look, it's easy to analyze your team, your players, your project. It takes real courage, though, to turn that critical eye back on yourself. And this is where it gets a little uncomfortable. You have to ask yourself, honestly, was the game plan I put together actually suited for what happened on the field? Or was I just blindly sticking to a script? Or let's go a level deeper. How about this one? Did my team actually learn and internalize the concepts I was trying to get across? Or was I just out there barking instructions? There is a huge difference between teaching for understanding and just telling someone what to do. And finally, maybe the toughest one of all. Was I reactive? Was I leading with the emotional highs and lows of the moment? Or was I intentional, guiding my team with a clear, steady purpose? These are the questions that really, truly matter. So if asking yourself those questions feels a little squirmy, that's okay. It's actually a good sign. It's supposed to. This quote is such a critical reminder that real growth, real learning, it almost always comes from a place of discomfort. That feeling means you're on the right track. All right, so the why is crystal clear. It's powerful, it's necessary. But what about the how? How do we actually do this without adding another overwhelming task to our plate? Well, the source proposes turning it into a dead simple 5-minute habit. And here it is, a super simple 3R framework. After every session, you just ask yourself 3 things. First, what's one thing to repeat because it worked great? Second, what's one thing to remove because it just didn't work? And third, what's one thing to rethink, something you'd approach totally differently next time around? And the time commitment for this? Get this, just 5 minutes. That's it. The whole argument is that 5 consistent minutes of honest reflection can have a bigger impact on your career than 5 years of just going through the motions. The return on that tiny 5-minute investment is absolutely massive. And this is where the magic happens, because this tiny habit starts to compound. Those little 5-minute notes start to reveal patterns. And over time, those consistent patterns harden into principles. And eventually, those strong principles, they define your very identity as a leader. It's a process that starts small, but builds the foundation of who you are. And listen, this doesn't just impact you in a vacuum. The real advantage, the ultimate payoff, is how this personal habit shapes the entire environment around you. It creates a genuine culture of growth. Just think about what happens when your players see you modeling this behavior. When they see you admitting what you need to remove or rethink, suddenly they learn humility. They learn ownership. They stop just looking for easy answers, and they start asking better questions themselves. Your team transforms from just a group trying to win into a real learning environment where performance and, just as importantly, human connection can actually thrive. So what this all boils down to is a fundamental mindset shift. You stop frantically chasing the next win, and you start focusing on shaping your process. And that relentless focus on refinements, that's what puts you in a position to actually influence outcomes over the long run, which is infinitely more powerful. And we'll end on this fantastic quote because it just wraps everything up so perfectly. Mastery isn't about having all the answers or a perfect playbook. It's about having the humility and the curiosity to constantly ask, what just happened and how can we be better? It's a never-ending process of just asking better and better questions.